Good afternoon, I mean good morning, and welcome back to News Hour. Now that you know the truth about Abraham Lincoln's vampire-slaying past, you may be wondering about some of his friends, like Frederick Douglass. Recently, there's been an uproar about a case with him at the center. Many know that Douglass was an American slave who, after escaping, became America's most influential black citizen. After teaching himself how to read, with some assistance, he went on to give speeches and spread awareness about the tragedies of slavery. One may say that reading was a blessing for Douglass, for he accomplished many great things, but others say it was a curse, for Douglass was deeply disturbed by the things he learned from reading. On that note, I now present the live court hearing of whether or not Frederick Douglass's learning to read was more of a blessing or a curse.
OMG, look, it's that girl from the news!
Isn't she supposed to be broadcasting this?
And look, the other lawyer looks just like her.
Wow, it's almost like they're the same person. How weird.
Order! Order in the court! The court case for whether Frederick Douglass' learning to read is a curse or a blessing shall now commence. The prosecution may state its case.
Well, Your Honor, I believe that Douglass learning to read was more of a blessing.
Do you have any evidence to substantiate your claim?
I do, Your Honor. If Douglass had never taught himself to read, with some assistance, he never would have made an impact. If Douglass had not learned to read, we would have lost one of our most crucial and notable speakers. Without him, where would the state of our civil rights movement be today? Objection, Your Honor. This is not substantial evidence.
Objection sustained. You may continue.
Your Honor, I believe that Douglass learning to read was more of a curse rather than a blessing because of the horrible things he read about. He learned about how awful slaves were being treated and the realities he was living through with, as he himself stated, no ladder upon which to get out. As he read about these horrors, he couldn't read about a solution, because there wasn't one. Douglass stated that he wanted to, quote, get rid of thinking, for he was haunted by what he learned and what may happen to him, ultimately traumatizing him.
Yeah, that was a pretty good point.
Objection, Your Honor. I was not finished. Douglass wouldn't have had such a strong desire to escape from these horrors if he had not read about them. He may have stayed with his master and never have known what it was like to be a free man. He may have been mortified by these facts, but only encouraged him to become a free man and use his powerful voice for social justice. He went on to be heard and praised by our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, where the two of them later became friends, because Douglass wrote and spoke out about ending slavery. He continued to denounce injustice and inequality even when he had grown old. He would have never become such an influential spokesperson if not for learning how to read. I rest my case, Your Honor.
After witnessing both sides of the argument, the time has come for me to proclaim my verdict. The state of Frederick Douglass learning to read was more of a curse is guilty? Sir? It's false. It was a blessing. Good job. Court dismissed.
Wow, that was a really short court hearing.
Yeah, you couldn't share the honor that was in your life.
And that concludes a court hearing of whether or not Frederick Douglass's learning to read was more of a blessing or a curse. Learning to read gave Douglass a goal, as well as resolve and motivation, thus making it a blessing. Next up on News Hour, 2 podcasters were caught robbing a grocery store with 56.5 jars of mayonnaise. While live, I'm Savannah Danisiana, and this is today's report of Judge Jonathan.